and welcome back. That's we all have someone that we may talk once, and then it may need months or even a year to digest the richness of the content they shared with us. Now, that's Fabricio for me. Every time I talk to him, he fills my head with inspirations and ideas, and it takes me literally 1 year to unpack the wisdom I get from him. For this reason, I keep my presentation super short. His title is just provocation, pure provocation for us, when he says design operations is too important to be left to designers. So from Brazil, from Itaú, Fabricio Doré.
Hi, hello everyone. So I'll just see if I'll show up in the screen. Eventually, I think so. There you go. There you go. Good to see. Good to see everyone. Unfortunately, we can't see each other, but I know that we have a large group here in the audience. Thank Pat again for the invitation. I'll also keep my intro very brief here, so I can go through the pages and share what we're doing at Itaú. I'll also share what is Itaú, so I'll give you some context to everyone. So just a quick intro about myself. I'm a designer by training. I had so far a long experience working in different countries. Part of the time at a company called IDEO, a design innovation studio in San Francisco, Chicago, and Munich. I've been a consultant at McKinsey for about 7 years. And I was Itaú as well in the past, which I'll share a bit in a minute, what Itaú is. And I just joined back Itaú again January this year to lead design, customer experience, and digital transformation of the bank. And let me share the pages, and I can go through some of what we are facing and dealing there. Give me a second. All right, so I think you should all be seeing my screen. So I tried to put this provocative title because I think I really believe in it, and I will share why. And what we're doing as far as an integrated approach. So maybe just a quick intro about Itaú. Itaú is Latin America's largest bank. So it's about to be 100 years old next year. We have 80 million customers, more than 80 million customers, more than 2,000 branches. Still, we're obviously shutting down a lot of branches these days. A lot of the experience goes through digital, and we have, as you can see, millions of credit cards, and we have maybe the last information is actually quite important. We have more than 80,000 people, 80,000 full-time employees. In my team, we are more than 700 people. So it's, within designers, researchers, analysts, service designers, data scientists, so on and so forth. And I think this already says a little bit of the approach that we think is a good approach for the types of challenges that we have nowadays. We think it's a lot about this multidisciplinary teams, not only in the way that we work, in the sense of squads and tribes, and I'll talk more about it, but also within the team itself, right? Being a large multidisciplinary, diverse team, also diverse in many ways. We started, this information is important so you know where I'm coming from with the thinking. The bank started a transformation, digital transformation, about 10 years ago. I won't go through all the details, we won't have time for that. But it involved creating a lot of different tribes and squads, but also changing how the bank works, right? So it started with technology, right, and agility, and it came all the way through the creation of my team and my area, which works across the different areas of the bank, to help us in our customer-centric transformation. That's what we're calling, not calling digital transformation, but customer-centric transformation, which in the end is what we want, right? We want to be more customer-centric. So just to give you more context on this, we have nearly 3,000 squads, more than 67 tribes, and more than 28,000 people working in agile teams, creating all the different experiences, product services that a bank does. So it's a very, very large operation. You wouldn't imagine, like, design ops obviously very important in this context, but much more than that, right? It's how you integrate that with the larger group, right, and create more impact. And maybe just to set it up, we for obvious reasons, we live in this moment, right, of this area of product design and technology. And these disciplines, they mix together, right, all the time when we create everything that we do in our day-to-day work. And I imagine it's the same for most, if not all of you. But it creates this challenge of how do you, operationalize the way we work and think, and how do we integrate design into this larger context, right? Because we have a lot of complexity within product, we have a lot of complexity within design, and we have a lot of complexity within technology. But how that comes together in a integrated approach and a framework that makes sense, right? And doesn't leave design ops or designers isolated in the process. And I think maybe before I comment here, I think one of the signs that I see when it's isolated and it's not integrated, and I think this is something that I want to share as a kind of a snippet of thinking, is when you have to do a lot of work to justify design or to justify design ops per se, right, as a discipline. If you're putting too much effort in that, is because people are not seeing the value, right? The senior leadership is not seeing the value of the work, and you need to look for something larger, and a larger business context or impact to deliver. So I won't obviously share what design ops are. We're all talking about design ops, but we know that there's a couple of things that happened, right, for design ops to come to be and to come to life. And probably the most kind of basic one is the fact that our design teams were growing, right? And the complexity of the work and the complexity of collaboration, integration, and all that, and workflows, but also the quality of the talent and so on and so forth, right? So this is obviously where it came from. But I want to add to that it's about the same time. A lot happened in companies, and especially in technology-oriented companies, which is most companies nowadays, is that agility and enterprise agility took a lot of importance, right? It became very important for companies to be agile. And I'll mention some of the points that when we think about enterprise agility as a evolution of agile that's done in a kind of in the small units of the squads, enterprise agility is about how the company works, right? How product development is done, how you connect strategy and into OKRs and to the day-to-day metrics and KPIs of the team. You talk a lot about topology, like how the teams are structured, how they integrate between themselves. And I'll give you an example. In a large bank like us, we have a lot of traditional financial product teams, but those are not product management focused, like product-led teams. They're thinking about the P&L of the product. They're thinking about how the product works, right, from a financial perspective. So that creates a complexity in topology, right? Because then you have these different types of disciplines, and you have to make it all work. Then you have designers, and you have data scientists, data engineers, and how you set it up, these teams, in a way that not only the small units of the squads, which is fairly easy nowadays, they work well, but how the whole system works. So the topology is very important. And when we think about, and I'll make a brief comparison here, when we talk about technology, there's clear definitions, and if you ask maybe even the CEO of the company, what's the value of DevOps? Everybody knows. Like, people know that it's about creating value for the company in a way that it expedites the delivery of software, it improves the speed in all the production pipeline, and so on and so forth. So it's something that, like, if people can grasp and understand. But the question is, like, what is the value of design ops, right? What's design ops creates as value for the organization? And it needs to be clear. Going back to what I was saying before, if we don't know that, and if the senior stakeholders don't know that, it is a problem, right? And we know that it creates value, right? It creates efficiency, it helps standardize processes, improves productivity. But on top of that, I think the most important part is that by doing that, it helps teams to focus on high-value activities. But it's all very, still quite difficult to explain, right? And to connect. And in this page and the next page, I'm going to share my criticism to what I think has been happening when we talk about design ops, is that I feel like a lot of times it's very focused on designers themselves and how design works, but not how design connects to the company as a whole. And when I say connect to the company, it's enterprise agility, topology, KPIs, OKRs, how that integrates into the larger system, but it also a lot of times very focused on activities, right? Outputs, not outcomes. Like, what do we want to achieve? Like, what is the outcome of implementing design ops that really connects to the larger view of creating value for the company, right? When we look at the typical framework of design ops, and I won't go through the details because I think the more important information is the next page, we see all these activities, right? How we work together, and this should be familiar to most of you. It's based on the Norman Nielsen framework, which is the one that we use. But when we talk about that, we see the elements of enterprise agility mapping very, very closely to what we're talking about in design ops. The topology, the product development, and strategy and results orientation. These are all things that we talk about when we deal with enterprise agility and how the company works as a whole, right? So what we're trying to do at Itaú is to really have an integrated approach, like connecting design ops, research ops into a product-led, a larger framework of a product-led organization that has its product teams that really drives what the OKRs for the teams are, right? And the whole transformation that we're doing in the company. So it doesn't work in isolation. It's actually fairly connected to that. And I'll give you an example. We have a few, we're actually working on that right now to have just one framework for product development for the whole company. But we use, this is a simplified version that we actually use in some of our discussions, which is adapted from Reforge. We have opportunity validation, define, develop, launch, and iterate. And here below, with the colors, you can see the framework that I was talking about, the design ops framework unpacked in different activities based on our reality. So there's a few things, and you're going to see some names here like IDL or IDS. This is Itaú Design Language, Itaú Design System. We have some of our activities. So this is kind of mapped to what we do at Itaú. I put just some examples here as like 5.2 research ops connects to the opportunity validation piece of the larger framework, or design system connects to the development and the definition phase, especially development actually, of the larger product framework. Another example is the education piece and developing our people, right? It's something that happens in different parts of this, like thinking about how designers collaborate in different parts of the product journey. So ultimately, what we try to do is to have this orange bar here is what we're trying to achieve in the larger transformation of the company, which is two very simple things, but very important, very high level, which is CX improvements in the company as a whole, the different journeys, different products, different services, And we want to reduce unit costs, which for us is the number of changes, the number of implementations, things like that by FTE or through time, like in a period of a year. So this is a very simplified way to look at kind of the high-level CEO metrics that we want in our transformation. And then below, we have the KPIs. Apologies for some of the Portuguese here, but you can see the terminology. Some of them are in English anyways. You can see how they map into that. So we're trying to map even on a KPI level what we want to achieve in the company to what we want to do and achieve in our design ops activities. So to close, I'll just say like how we do it. So this is the direct team that reports to me. And you're going to see that we have research ops, design ops, product ops, and enterprise agility all within my area and within my leadership, which makes everything much easier because then we can connect those things and change how the company works. So this is the provocation that I want to leave with you today. We don't have a lot of time, but I want to share these points because I think it's very important to see how we connect the very important work that we're doing in design ops to the company in an integrated, agile, enterprise agility approach. So we're open for questions now. We don't have, apologies for being very brief. We don't have a lot of time, but I hope it was good to share what we've been doing at Itaú.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I know I will need time to unpack everything because it's always like this when I talk to you or listen to you. So we have few questions. So let's go with Alex. Do you think that the technical teams and experienced designers, product owners can be aligned in the outcome for the end product? Is there one system that you think that will be able to bring everyone together? So all the requirements, UX, DevOps, testing pipe.
I not only think, but I think it's mandatory. I think all these disciplines and all these teams need to be connected together. And just to share what we're trying to do is, obviously you saw the numbers, right? We have very, very large teams and a lot of people involved. What we are doing right now is going to the next phase of how we use OKRs in the bank as a whole. So really using OKRs as our key way of integrating from the high-level strategy to the team delivery and having everybody looking at the same thing. Right now, we already have the teams very, very integrated and diverse. So they're all multidisciplinary, but we need to get much more disciplined with OKRs to be able to make it work in reality.
Fantastic. And we have a question on KPIs. Do any of your KPIs have greater priority? What takes priority if one negatively affects the other?
Good. That's a great question. They do have a priority. The most important ones are the efficiency ones and the customer experience improvement ones. So those are the things that we really look into, like from a high-level perspective. And when I say efficiency, it's not only the efficiency of like design ops as a team, but also not only design as a team, but the efficiency of the whole system. The whole 28,000 people that I mentioned, we're looking very, very closely into how they become more and more efficient and deliver better quality software and products.
That's awesome. And then I could keep asking questions, but I know you have a hard stop. So it will take me another year to digest your presentation. Thank you so much for making it, Fabricio. I mean, you have no idea how grateful I am. Thank you. Thank you for the inspiration and the time and for sharing all this goodness with us. I'll let you go to your busy schedule and your busy life, and I take everyone else to the next room. So you know the drill at this point, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.